Hello everybody. Today I'm going to assemble some bubble lights, and then there's also some that need some repair. So I've got the bubble light bases, I've got some of the 15-volt light bulbs, and I've got some bubble tubes. These I have kind of situated them how I want to do them, the combos, color combos I want. So I'm going to split them open and glue a bulb in each one of them and come back to do the next step a little later on. I may go ahead and glue them together. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to test these, and I think all they need is just new tubes, so that's not going to be a problem. These are burned out, so I'll have to relamp those. This GE lighted bell is burned out, and it's got a crack I need to repair, so that's got two problems. So fun times maintaining the vintage equipment, but I enjoy it. So here is the procedure. First off, before I glue anything in, I'll test the bulb. That bulb is fine. The base will have the little notch for the solder blob, and it'll go in like that. That's not correct. Rotate it and it'll drop down in. So bulb goes in. It's not in there right. Got to rotate it till it drops down in that little notch. And that kind of locks it into place too. And that's what I've got right there. So now pull it back out. Drop the bulb, of course. I've got some new glue for this year. The glue all, I think it works a touch better than the school glue, but the school glue is all I had before. So we moving up, and then I'll rotate it until it drops down. It dropped in. I'll go ahead and glue the top on. Just real thin with the glue, as I did before, gluing the repaired ones back together. And then it's just a matter of sticking the two halves together. And then that's all that needs to be done on these for today. I need to make some more of those stands here. That will be set to the side to dry out. Let's do a teal and blue one. That might be an interesting combo. Test the bulb. Bulb is good. The base is teal, so that's where the bulb's gonna go. And that one drops in very nicely. And then put the glue around where the two halves will meet lightly. Because if the bulb burns out, I'll need to be able to soak these and replace the bulb. So I didn't want to use super glue or anything like that. And there's the second one done. And I'll just do the same for all the others, and we'll come back when I'm done, or might do a time lapse. A little while later, there's my bases assembled, so I've got to let those dry. And I've got a couple more over here drying on the vise. I may move all of them over here. All except one. I'll leave that lonely one on the vise. So now I'll turn my attention to these. I just need to confirm the bulbs are good, and then I'll put some new tubes in there. So I had confirmed all the tubes are good in these 5 bases. Now let's put some tubes in them. I think those clear ones with red bulbs, I'm going to put purple tubes in. They look kind of more maroon. They're pretty close match to the bulb. So I put just a little glue to keep them in place. And that's a solid fit. And it just contacts the top of the bulb. And I can just take that and smooth it off a little bit. So that one's good. Do the same thing with this one. Just a little glue. That one fit a little more loosely, but it is contacted with the bulb. This one here, I'll put a red tube in it. That's a great fit. And the one with the yellow bulb, I'll put a yellow tube in it. That looks good. And then, of course, this one with the green bulb in, it's going to get a green tube. Just like that. It's kind of easier with the clear base to see how that is assembled. That looks pretty good. This one here is cloudy and does not bubble anymore. So I'm going to have to replace that tube. So get a red one. That fits quite loosely, but that's okay. Just add a little more glue and it'll fit right up in there great. Just twist it and set it down on there, and I'll set this where it'll be level. Let's see, maybe right in there. I think that should work all right. Make sure I didn't disturb that one, that's fine. So I can get these out of the way and let them dry up. and then I'll give them a test. So I guess the next thing I can do is go ahead and glue that cracked area in that lighted bell, and then let that cure out. I'm using the PR40 plastic weld, which is past its prime. It's getting really thick, but it'll be good enough for this. And then I'll hold it in place. And then it'll eventually bond and it'll be alright. And then I can get my hot water soak going the same time I'm going to do the bubble lights. Here's the yellow bubbling away. Not a problem, so that's a successful repair. Here's one of the red light bulbs with a purple tube. That looks pretty good. I like that. Very nice. Well, it's the next day and all the base is dried and the light bulbs dried in place. So I went ahead and stuck the tubes in and glued those in. This is what I came up with. I think those will look quite lovely. So now, oh, speaking of gluing things, my lighted bell is all glued up. Can't really tell anything different now. So what I got to do next is I got to heat my water. I got to get everything moved out from in front of the microwave, and I'll fire that up and heat my water up so I can start soaking these bases and get those split open. I've already pre-marked them. I have a video I made from last year, pretty in-depth video, so that can also be referenced. I'll leave that link in the description. So I'm going to get set up here with my hot water and get started on this step. I've got my water heating up in the 1988 Magic Chef microwave. So finally got my water hot enough. What happened to this one is the top of the bulb broke off and it stuck to the bubble tube, so I gotta put that on the soak, get that all situated. Water's real hot. Gotta get that air out of there. Yep, see how hot the water is? Got that to bubbling. Put the bell in there. Soak that out. That one just burned out yesterday. That was a nice sink. And I'll hold that one, give it a little helping hand. Let those soak for a little bit and soften them up. See if that bell's ready to work with yet. That was nice. It shedded its complete color coating. How about that? Get that all pulled out of there. There goes the adhesive. Just Just working it out with my thumb. All cleaned up. I'm thinking with this one I want to put a twinkle bulb in it. I've got a yellow one in there in service with a twinkle bulb. It looks pretty cool. Not just any twinkle bulb. I'm going to use a GED26. I'm going to test it out first and make sure it works and twinkles like it's supposed to. And we'll go from there. Well, the first good bit of news is it lights up. So now we'll see if it'll start twinkling. It's like the filament's in good shape yet. It's not wiggling when I shake the bulb, so no indication it's going to burn out anytime soon. Hey, I think we're in business. Will it turn back on? Yep. That's a good bulb, so I'll proceed to the next step. And there's my high-tech hanging area, so that bulb will glue in place and will be able to be screwed in to a regular C7 socket. Let's see if this one will pop out the bubble tube. That's stuck in there pretty tight. I would think that would be popping out of there pretty quick. Man, it's so hot it's still bubbling. I'll have to find a good blade and start cutting these open. I think this year I'm going to try these. They're not X-Acto knives. But they're close enough. I'm thinking maybe JK18 has some of these as well. So I'm going to put my glove on. And try this medium-sized one and see what I get into. Maybe a fail. It might work. This type here I've never tried to relamp, and they're quite a bit of a tighter tolerance there. So I'll see if I can get started and split it open anyway. I don't know if these are going to work. It's kind of gouging that up pretty good. Not sure about that. This is what I've used before, which may be just the better way to do it. Yeah, I think so. Except this tolerance is super tight on these. Yeah, I'm just kind of making a mess of those. We'll see. They just may be a little goofy looking. I don't know. That's not looking real good. That may be just a complete fail. I don't know. Maybe there's a method to do these that I don't know about. But that's definitely not having it. And try this one. Yeah, these are so much easier because of those ridges. The knife will just follow those ridges perfectly. Being that you take your time, don't get in too big a hurry, just for kicks. Looks like this will also work. So I've gone around one time. I'll go ahead and heat it back up again. Grab another one and work on it a little bit. And that mark also is where I can start. Well, that one started going pretty quickly. How about that? Sometimes they'll take right off. That's why I have the glove on in case that blade would have slipped. Got the heavy leather glove on. Yep. That one is just about ready to go. Look at that. That one split open quite easily. Now, will the bulb come out? I think somebody, if I recall correctly, was having trouble getting the bulb out. This is how I will do it. Just start rocking them opposite. Doesn't take that much. And then the bulb will start coming loose. Not difficult at all. See if I can just unscrew it. And it went to air. That happens. But I'll get it out eventually. May have to squeeze on it a little bit. See if I can extract it. There, that's all there is to it. Comes right out. Give that a little rinse. Let that dry. Grab another one. I kind of like this blade a little better. Seeming like I can have a little more control over it. Look at this one go. That's nice. Too bad they're not all that easy. Okay, there it goes. Not too much pressure. Don't know if I'm blocking the shot or may have to reset the camera up a little higher. But this one's just about to split. There it goes. Not too bad at all. Then again, let's see about getting the bulb out. Let me get a little more light on the situation. I think that'll be better. And just rock it back and forth. And then it should start pushing through. If not, just we'll see what happens. Usually that happens like that about every time. So, being that's the case, grab it with the needle nose pliers, and the base just rolls right out. And there's that one. Quick rinse. Put it in the drying area. Alright, maybe we got a little bit better angle on this one. Let's grab this one right here, this blue and red one. Find the mark. That's where I will begin. Maybe about time to reheat the water. This one's not going to be an easy one. It's showing no indication of giving up yet. There, it's starting right there. And I'm all the way around. Yep, I think it's time to heat the water back up. Gonna have another try at this one. I think I made a little progress. It's not gonna be as nice of a cut, but I'm finally getting through. We'll see what happens. This one's just going to be a little mangled looking. Be one that goes up top where you don't notice it too much. And we're getting close. This one's all warped and distorted. But I managed. See, the failure on this one is the bulb broke in it. So I got to be careful with that broken glass. And that one popped out quite easily. It's like perhaps this manufacturer used a little bit different type of glue. But the procedure will be the same for reassembly. Should that be successful, it's Not looking great for that one, but I'll of course try. Let's get back to this one. See, heating that water made all the difference. It's going through like butter now. Look at that. And then once it starts going, you got to be real careful. Be real patient with it. Just don't want to crack it. This plastic's getting pretty old now. It's the advantage of heating it up. It makes it a bit more pliable. There it is. So what happened to... Oh! It's got a wider base on it. Look at that. That's what the issue was, why it wouldn't come out. It's flared out. So we'll just have to go from this way. That's a good bubbler. So I may put that one back in just so it has the original one. Let's see if we can get this bulb out. Take the regular pliers, just like that, and then start rocking them opposite of each other, and then it'll start twisting. Now here's the part where the bulb breaks. And there it goes. It's burned out, so who cares? So once that happens, get the old needle nose and just work it out. Done. Easy. And that one's ready. Those are a set, and those are a set. So, it looks like I've got 2 more to go. See, where's my mark? That's a good place to start. And there goes that one. And I hadn't even made it all the way around. It already split. There, I've made it 1 revolution. It should start splitting open all the way pretty quick. There it goes. There's another one. Let's get the bulb out. Once again, that one's pretty loose already. And that one shot out of there like a rocket. And there's another set, and then one more. Let's see how this one's going to behave. There's my mark. Get set, go. And that one's already splitting open. Fantastic. There's one revolution, and I'm to the part where it is splitting open. There it's going. A little more. A little more. And that one is open. See how this bulb reacts. Well, that one shoot out like a rocket as well. Perfect score though, right into the water. So that'll work. The little bits of glue out of it. So we'll let those dry out a little bit, and I'll come back with the bulbs and the glue. Okay, got my bulbs. Let's give them a quick test. Perfect. 5 for 5. So this is the base, the blue part. There, we're zoomed in a little bit. We'll start gluing in some bulbs. And that one's fitting in quite tightly, which is real good because I can get right on to the next task. And these I did last year have been absolutely perfect. No issues whatsoever. So I think this glue will be even better than what I had last year. So when it's all assembled, that tube will be touching the bulb just like that. Find my mark right there and just sandwich them back together. And I'm going to set them off to the side upside down where the bulb will put a little pressure on the two halves. Let's do this one here. The tops will have these little ridges that hold the bubble tube in, and the bases will be slightly smaller and smooth. Get this bulb glued up. See how this one will fit. Not quite as tight, but still adequate. That should work. Looks like we need to fill in the gap a little bit right there. And then glue away. Not too much. It'll all squish out. Find my mark. There it is. And that'll meet right back up. This one's not going to fit quite as nicely as some of the others. But it'll work. Hold that one just a minute. Let's set it off to the side. Grab this one next. Let's try it like this. I think that might be a little easier way to get the glue in there. And then make sure it's squared up. I think that's why I did it the other way. Get a little bit of glue on the socket or on the threads there on that base. That one's sitting kind of wonky. So I have to play with that just a little bit. That should work. A little bit too heavy on the glue there. There it is. It's under control. Find my marks. Got some stuff there, a little debris. And that one is upside down, drying as well. The base and the top for this blue and orange one. Let's go back to this style. This works better like this. And then the threads on the base won't get glue all over them. Make sure that's sitting pretty even. These are warped and old, so it's not going to be perfect, but that should be pretty good. There's my mark. Set that upside down. And I got this green and yellow. Those bulbs are fitting in nice this year. I like that. There's my mark. There we go. Oh yeah, that one's gonna fit back real nice. It's a good one there. They don't always come out that nice, or seldom do they do, at least for me. And then this guy right here. That's the base, and that's the top. That's pretty rough bubble right there, but it's going to be saved. Can't remember off the top of my head who made this type of bubble light. That's fitting real good and snug. Very nice. And let's glue this roughness back together. It's kind of sad, but never done this style before. So it'll just have to have a little more character than it used to. Find my mark. Yeah, that's not looking too promising. But oh well, I tried. It's definitely one that'll be towards the back or up top where you can't really see the roughness. That's not even, it's so warped it doesn't even want to go back together very well. And I am lined up. May have to get creative with this one. So here's my solution. I've got it in the old vice grips. So I'll definitely let that dry for a good while. I guess meanwhile I can test some of my bubble lights that I made. So while we're watching glue dry, let's test out my bubble lights that I made. So that orange and purple. Purple and blue with a blue tube. Pretty nice. There's a teal and blue with a green tube. That's a pretty nice combo. And the classic yellow and green. Classic yellow and blue. Blue and white, or light blue and white. Not bad. Red orange. Teal white with purple tube. And then the classic red and green. And then the green and red that I replaced the bubbler in because it was clouded up and would not bubble anymore. So those are all good. And then we'll give those other ones a good test here in a little bit, and I'll have a good amount of bubble lights. What I got, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 more bubble lights that I got cheap because they didn't work, and then just the parts were not too bad to assemble my own. It's day 3 on this repair process. I've let these bulbs and all dry up for a day, so they're fully cured and adhered now. And then we'll see how this held up. And then these 5 are ready to be retubed. I didn't show it on these, so I will show it on these. It's not real difficult. So I've got my empty box set up there to set these bases in. And then we'll install the replacement tubes. So I'll get the tripod set up and we'll get after that. Here we go. Let's take the vice grips loose and see how this did. Looks like it did okay. I'm going to try to heat this up and try to form that back into place a little better. We'll see how that goes. Doesn't look terrible, but I'm going to put a red tube in this one, and it just simply drops in, and you'll feel it hit the light bulb. But I am going to reinforce it with some glue. Get the dried glue piece off, and here we go. That should be more than enough. There's one done. How about that? Very easy. So up next, I've got a blue one here. Already trying to bubble just a little bit, just in my hand. That was in this one. I think a red one will look better than the blue one did, so I'm going to put that, we'll put it in this one here, this orange one. And that's a real tight fit there. So it may not work in that one. We'll try this one. So looks like if I scrape the adhesive off, maybe it'll go in there. I'll get my close enough and just scrape that off. That's better. Now will I have enough clearance? Just barely. And see, that cracked it just a little bit, but that's no biggie. That's not a very good bubble light anyway, but it will work. Can't save them all perfectly. So this one here, I'm going to put a yellow. And apparently these are all going to be very tight fitting. That one didn't crack, but it fits tight, so I'm not going to have to glue it. And these I picked up off of eBay a while back, and it was just the bases only. Some work, some did not. So I'm making them all work. Here's another yellow one. These aren't the best shape, but they're adequate. And now I'm going to put a blue one in this one. That's just fitting super tight. Maybe if I had some soap or something. I have some vintage Dawn. I'm going to be making a video about this one pretty soon. That's Dawn from maybe the 80s or early 90s. And it still smells, has that original smell that I remember from a kid. Dawn does not smell like this anymore. And then that made all the difference in the world to pop that in there. Got to count on the vintage product to get things done sometimes. Let's do this blue and red one. I'm going to put a purple tube in it. Then we'll need a little bit of the Dawn. This was back when the national leading brand was actually a pretty good product. And that's in there. And I've got a few more bubble lights ready to go. Give them a final test here. There's the red and blue with purple tube. There's a blue and orange with a blue tube. Yellow and red with a yellow tube. Red and yellow with a red tube. Yellow and green with a yellow tube. And blue and yellow with a blue tube, with a vintage blue tube. All working, all ready to go. Let's next test out the lighted bell that I put a twinkle bulb in, a GE twinkle bulb. See what that does. I'll populate it within the light strand. Alright, I'm going to apply power. I've got it populated in my test strand. See what it does. Take that one out and we'll see if this twinkles. And indeed it does. So that one, I'll probably put it in service. And remember, this is one I also glued together, that cracked part. And it's virtually indistinguishable. It's right in there because I have that little dark piece stick. But other than that, made a great repair. You can see where that PR40 actually melted the plastic back into place. So this one's ready for service. So once again, this has been some Bubble Light madness. Thank you for watching.